Hey there, comic book friends, I'm Travis, and this is another edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on with me in my world of comics for the week. Nothing really in the way of news, per se, that I can really think of that is really intrigued me or anything like that. So I guess really one thing I have to talk about today is I was watching something and I can't remember now what it is. I wish I could remember so I could credit whoever it was that was originally talking about or whatever. Someplace I was watching, people were talking about comic books, and somebody in the comments asked whether or not the people who were talking believed in the Overstreet price guide. And kind of the quick, somewhat glib maybe answer to that question was no. eBay is the price guide because it's going to tell you what you're going to get for your comic book. And it could maybe kind of start thinking about that whole thing. And also along the same lines of that, 123 Comic Bro, if you're not following him, you should be. He does some great videos. One of the latest videos he did is a series. I think it's going to be a series of videos he's going to do called Pwning Craigslist, where basically, you know, I don't know if any of you guys ever checked out things on Craigslist. Lots of people will ask for like crazy amounts of money for their comic books that aren't really worth anything on Craigslist. And he singles out a particular target and kind of pokes fun at them for asking $32 or something like that for Superman number 500. And it just got me thinking about the prices of things, the prices we pay versus the prices things are listed for versus what their actual value is. Now, a lot of that is in the eye of the beholder. What is worth something to me is certainly not going to be worth something to everybody else. You know, outside of the comic book world, most of our collections aren't worth a whole lot to most people. They don't care, so it doesn't matter to them. It has no value. They'll take it at face value, and that's what it is. Now, Overstreet price guide. I don't actually buy the Overstreet price guide. I know a lot of you guys out there do. You buy it every year and stuff, and use to look up the prices of things and stuff. And I don't. I use a couple online resources that give me kind of a basic guideline. They kind of use Overstreet price, and they got their own kind of guidelines, and some of them even list kind of what the maximum high value books have gone for. They'll give you kind of a history of, this date in history, a 9.8 version of said comic went for this much money at auction or whatever. They give you an idea of what the value might be of it. But I think to some degree that answer that was given, at least for me, that answer that was given, it's eBay is where the price is set. That tells you what the value of your book is. It's not 100% accurate, but to some degree for like me it is. I don't have shops to go into. I know some of you guys are lucky enough to go have warehouses or wherever where these large volumes of old comic books are at that you can sort through and stuff. Except for the occasional rare con that I can get to maybe once or twice a year that might have some booksellers there. I don't have those kinds of opportunities. So I am kind of stuck with things like eBay and that sort of thing. Now, what's the value of a book? It all depends on what I want to pay for the book. If I desperately want that last issue of Doom Patrol that I don't have, I might be willing to pay more than the cover price of it, or more than what's Overstreet saying the price value of it is, because it's more valuable to me at that point because it's the last one I would need to get. I'm not down to one issue, but I'm getting close. And so I think like the Overstreet, it's kind of like a guideline, right? I mean, that would basically be our base. This is what the base value of said book would be. But really, the market demand is what it is. I'm sure if you next year, if you check out Overstreet Price Guide, I can't imagine it's going to tell us that like Saga #1 is, worth the money that it's going for right now on online on like eBay. I can't imagine The Walking Dead in the Overstreet Price Guide is as much as what the first issue as what it can get sold for on eBay right now. So it's the demand in the market, obviously, have a factor in that also. I mean, granted, that Overstreet Price Guide takes other things into consideration. What's the rarity of the book? How many of them was it printed? When was it done? Who are the creators? All that stuff that adds value or not to the book. It makes perfect sense as far as that goes. But really, to some degree, it's whatever the market demands and whatever people are willing to pay for it. If in the case of the ponying Craigslist, where they're selling Superman number 500 or attempting to sell it for $32, they can find somebody, obviously, to pay $32 for it. Good for them, I guess. And unfortunately, they suckered somebody into paying that for that book. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. It's had me thinking for a while about the value and the price that we put on books and whatnot, and how much are you willing to pay and stuff. Stuff I really want, I'm willing to pay more for than stuff I'm only marginally interested in. So it's all interesting, I guess, and kind of speculative, and I'm always curious about why some of the prices are the way they are for books. It's the first appearance of somebody, it's a key issue, or we always talk about key issues, these key issues and of different things and whatnot, and what makes that key issue so important is the first appearance of something or whatever. It's the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, where we see Speedy shooting up, or whatever the key issues might be of things, and some of those have more value because of those kinds of things. But I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting. What do you guys think? How important is the Overstreet Price Guide? Is it really important to the value of your comics, and is it important to when you want comics, you purchase comics, what you make? What your decision is based on that. I know some of you kind of flip comics. You hope to buy them at a really a cheap rate and then be able to sell them on eBay at a higher value. But those of you who are just basically buying books to add to your collection, like I am, how big of a factor is that? Are those price guides and whatnot in what you buy? I mean, obviously, none of us are going to go out there and buy some horrifically inflated book, but if it's those last ones that you need to fill out that run or that collection or that part of something, do you pay more for it because it's worth more at that point? At least for me it is. It's worth more. My Doom Patrol books and whatnot, most of them are reader copies. They're pretty worn. They're all together and not falling apart, but they aren't beautiful, gorgeous, perfect copies by any means. Someday I may go and buy those, but when it gets down to me getting down to the very last one, I've got one left, I'm probably just going to go, forget it, I'm going to go buy it, even if I'm spending, $20 or whatever on a single issue, which I normally do not do. It's probably worth more for me at that point, because then I will have had the last one. And so I'm willing to spend more than maybe what the price guides say and whatnot. But what do you guys think of the whole price guide thing? Is it a baseline? Is it a kind of gives you a ballpark figure, hard and fast? This is the value of the book. I wouldn't pay a dime more than that. How do you guys operate on that? You know what? And I think that's really all I've got. It sounded more interesting in my head. Hopefully, it's somewhat interesting. Me talking about it now and getting some other people to talk about it. Oh, another thing, I want to thank everybody who watched last week's What the Fugue, where I kind of went off on the whole DC thing and a little bit on Marvel and just how their marketing and how their business works and some of the decisions that they're making currently. Got lots of views on that, which is cool. Even more cool is I got lots and lots of comments on it. I really appreciate that. I mean, that's part of why I do what the Fugue is. Well, any of my things really is to get feedback from other people, to have a conversation, to talk about it, to get other people's thoughts and whatnot. It makes the whole collecting and all that kind of stuff a lot more fun. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate those of you who pointed out the video on some of your videos and whatnot. I really appreciate that too. Directing a little more traffic, my direction, to check that out, to further that conversation. And I really, really appreciate that. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it's why I do the videos. I don't do it just to show off what I've got or whatnot. I'm here to talk books and whatnot, and this way I get to. So thanks a lot. And that's it for this week. See you on the weekend.